Good. All right. Good afternoon. Thank you all for joining us here today. I especially appreciate FBI Assistant Special Agent in Charge Percy Giles, my immediate right, coming up from New Orleans. Concordia Parish Sheriff David Hedrick to my far right. Also, Louisiana State Police Representatives Casey Wallace and Mike Stelly joining us from our local troop. We don't hold many press conferences in the Western District of Louisiana's U.S. Attorney's Office. We normally reserve them for special situations, special announcements, special indictments that the grand jury returns. It's always been a goal of my office to bring together federal, state, local, and tribal law enforcement officials, prosecutors, community leaders, and other stakeholders to identify the most pressing violent crime problems in the community and develop comprehensive solutions to address them. Our United States Attorney General, Merrick Garland, his second priority handed down to all 93 U.S. attorneys' offices around the country is to develop comprehensive crime strategies to keep our communities safe. Illegal drug trafficking and illegal drug dealing stands in the way of this and runs afoul of parents raising children, teachers teaching children, and community leaders organizing children into good groups, having them do good things that benefit their local communities. We recently had meetings with local law enforcement officials in this parish and the surrounding parishes all the way up to East Carroll Parish. Of course, we want the community to trust law enforcement and feel that our efforts and our intentions are legitimate. Getting active with community-based organizations, for example, are things that we need to do and we tend to pursue. But today, this press conference is about law enforcement. There will be a day when we stand before you, the people of this community, and we talk about community engagement. We talk about partnering with community organizations, and we talk about efforts to curb violence and reentry programs. All of those are great. But I want to reiterate that today is about enforcement, about notice, a warning that the FBI, the DEA, the ATF, the U.S. Attorney's Office, your local sheriff's offices in this part of the state, in conjunction with your local DA's offices in this part of the state, have a watchful eye over this community. We will prosecute drug traffickers who who commit violations of federal firearm and drug trafficking laws, and we will seek just sentences of imprisonment, not probation, just sentences of imprisonment. With that being said, we stand before you today to announce that 13 individuals have been arrested on federal charges over the last week following an investigation into drug trafficking activities in the Concordia and Rapides Parish areas. The United States alleges and plans to prove at trial that these individuals conspire to distribute and possess with the intent to distribute methamphetamine within the Western District of Louisiana, more specifically the Rapides and Concordia Parish areas and all points in between. In November of 2022, the Louisiana State Police, Alexandria Field Office Narcotics Unit, the FBI, Central Louisiana Safe Streets Task Force, and the Concordia Parish Sheriff's Office began an investigation of methamphetamine trafficking in and around Faraday, Louisiana, involving several individuals. Agents developed several informants. They conducted interviews and conducted several controlled evidence purchases of methamphetamine. This investigation ultimately led to wiretap investigations on several cellular telephones used by members of this drug trafficking organization. Agents learned that the conspiracy involved drug trafficking spanning multiple states and involved individuals not only from this area of the state, but as far as the West Coast. During the intercepts, nearly 15 pounds of methamphetamine can be attributed to being trafficked or discussed being trafficked during this investigation. Approximately 4.5 pounds of methamphetamine were actually seized. Last Wednesday, these 13 individuals were charged and indicted by a federal grand jury, and arrests began taking place, with the last few arrests taking place this morning. They are as follows. Henry Michael Jefferson Sr. of Katy, Texas, and Dontiel Carter of Faraday, Louisiana. These individuals were charged with conspiracy to distribute and possess with intent to distribute methamphetamine. Jefferson Sr. also has a prior federal drug trafficking conviction, and Carter has a prior state manslaughter conviction. So they are also charged with a sentencing enhancement based on their criminal histories. Henry Michael Jefferson Jr. From Katy, Texas, obviously the son of Henry Michael Jefferson Sr., charged with a conspiracy to distribute count and a distribution of methamphetamine count. Michael Thompson of Faraday, Louisiana, Tommy Piercefield of Faraday, Louisiana, Tony Bethley of Faraday, Louisiana, Terrell Harbor of Faraday, Louisiana, Samarian Rosenthal of Faraday, Louisiana, Ramon Martin of Faraday, Louisiana, Selena Walker of Vidalia, Louisiana, Gerald White of Ridgecrest, Louisiana, Bradley Welch of Ridgecrest, Louisiana, and Jamari Randall of Vidalia, Louisiana. All were also indicted in the conspiracy to distribute methamphetamine charge, count 1 in the indictment. Note that defendant Rosenthal is still a fugitive and has not been captured. We seek the public's assistance and help in locating Mr. Rosenthal. These individuals, with the exception of Jefferson Sr. and Carter, who have the prior drug trafficking and crimes of violence convictions, are facing 10 years to life in federal prison. These two individuals, Jefferson and Carter, because of these prior convictions, are facing 15 years to life in prison. We've all taken a sworn oath to do our part in ensuring our neighborhoods in Faraday, Vidalia, and surrounding communities are safe, where people can safely live, work, and raise their families. We will continue to work closely with other law enforcement agencies to make sure that happens by removing some of the most violent and dangerous offenders from our streets. This is not something new for us, but instead a renewed effort here in this area of the district and in this area of the state to address the violent crime epidemic here in Concordia Parish and rid our communities of these bad apples. I told you when I began the press conference, we don't do many of these press conferences, especially in this area of the state. But me and the sheriff felt the public needed to know that we're keeping a watchful eye over the citizens here in this part of the state and in this parish. And let me address something else before I close and turn it over to Sheriff Hedrick. Glock switches and machine gun conversion devices. There's an uptick in persons possessing these or firearms equipped with these all the way up to Lake Providence, from here all the way up to Lake Providence. Illegally carrying a loaded gun and threatening those around you is not acceptable behavior, and of course can result in the loss of innocent lives. The possession of Glock switches, auto sears, and other conversion devices is illegal. It will not be tolerated. And we will prosecute those we find in possession of those items federally. We will prosecute those we find in possession of those items federally, and we will seek sentences of imprisonment. No exception. There is a zero tolerance for these crimes, and regardless of whether you are 18 or 80, we will seek to arrest and imprison you. I suggest that you ditch the switch, because myself and these law enforcement leaders with me today have taken an oath to eradicate our communities of individuals who possess these illegal firearms. If you possess methamphetamine, cocaine, fentanyl, which has also become a problem in this area of the state, we will prosecute you and seek just sentences of imprisonment. You do not get probation generally in federal court. Our local communities suffer greatly when the trafficking of drugs takes place, wreaking havoc on individuals who live and work in our communities. The indictment of these 13 individuals is a result of a long-term investigation that could not have happened without the cooperation of our state partners. This is an ongoing investigation, and we are committed to continuing our joint efforts to keep these drugs off our streets. I stand before you today to tell you that we are proud of the work that law enforcement is doing and will do, and we continue to partner with our Delta area parishes here in Concordia, Catahoula, Tensas, Madison, Richland, East Carroll, West Carroll, Franklin, so on. Then this indictment is the fruits of our labor toward these efforts. Now I'll turn it over to Sheriff for a few remarks, and then we'll take a few questions. Thank you.
I'm so thankful for the U.S. Attorney, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, the Louisiana State Police, narcotics, the Concordia Parish deputies, narcotics units, and all the deputies throughout the state of Louisiana. This morning, a 2-year investigation, approximately a 2-year investigation, come to somewhat of a close for Concordia Parish. It gives me a peace of mind to show the 100 officers that showed up this morning, could be a little more, to work in conjunction together. Concordia Parish could not have done it without your officers. We could not have done it, and we're so thankful for you, because there is no safe haven for criminals in Concordia Parish. We will continue to seek you out. We will continue to arrest you, put you through the process, because we want to make our community safer. We can't thrive, our businesses can't thrive, and you're not going to have a good quality of life until we do so, and we're not going to stop for the people of Concordia Parish. I just want to thank you again for all y'all have done, and without mentioning, thank you very much.
All right. All right. Any questions?
Were any drugs other than methamphetamine, I guess, a major issue within this investigation?
Not this investigation, not this particular investigation, but like I said, there are other drugs that are an issue in this area that we continue to try to look into.
You spoke about, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Talk about how keeping it as quiet as y'all did, how difficult is that?
Well, it is. I mean, that's a great question. With these investigations, the FBI agents, the task force officers, they're trained to move covertly, to move, especially during the initial stages of the investigation. And it really does take a collaborative effort with the right local sheriff deputies, the right local police officers, the right state troopers and whatnot that are skilled and trained in this area to be able to put together a 2-year investigation of this magnitude, in this area. You look at this area, a lot of people know each other. A lot of people, they recognize each other's cars, they recognize unfamiliar faces. So that, it just goes to show, how skilled these men and women were putting this investigation together.
How many weapons were seized during this investigation, and do you expect these weapons to lead to solving other crimes within the parish?
This investigation wasn't necessarily about weapons. It was about drugs. I only mentioned weapons because I want the public to know, since we have a platform here in the podium here today, that Glock switches, individuals that illegally possess firearms, i.e. felons, it's a problem. It's a problem not only here in this parish, but all over this state. And those are things that we also are continuing to look into with the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. But firearms, conversion devices, they really weren't a part of this investigation.
And 2-year-long investigation, what prompted, is there a cue or tip that you all got from this area in Northeast Louisiana to make you all look specifically here in Concordia Parish?
Well, we've had some fentanyl overdoses here in this area, and a few years ago, I remember meeting with some of the TFOs from the state police, and they said they were going to kind of move east. A lot of them move. We work in the Alexandria area primarily, but we knew, along with intel from the sheriff's department and whatnot, that we got drugs everywhere. We got drugs all the way, like I said, from here all the way up to Lake Providence. And I understand that these sheriff departments, these police departments are understaffed and under-resourced. So it's the federal government offering our assistance to the locals. and chances are we're going to be invited in. We don't like to come in and try to take over. We always ask to be invited in. And during my 3 years as U.S. Attorney, it's been a goal of mine to try and prop up the more rural areas of our parish, because you have little ladies wanting to drink iced tea on their porch in Jonesville, just like you do in Shreveport, without the threat of an auto sear next door or a Glock switch coming down the street, spraying the street. So we have to look into our smaller, more rural communities, just like we do in our more populated areas like Monroe, Shreveport, Lafayette, Alexandria, and so on.
So I know you said that there is still one individual that you all are looking for.
Yes, Rosenthal.
Yes. Will there be more arrests after him, possibly?
We're always looking. we're always on the clock.
What was the purpose of the helicopter?
What helicopter?
The one that was flying over?
Oh, I don't know anything about that. We did arrest individuals this morning, so it could have had something to do with that.
Do we have an age range of these individuals?
Yes, ma'am. Looks like all the way from 25 to 50 years old.
So will y'all put out a press release yourself on this?
Yeah, we have one for you today. We'll give you one before you leave today.
Was there a specific leader, I guess, of this group? Somebody in charge?
The Henry Michael Jefferson. He's the lead defendant in this indictment. Again, a prior convicted individual in federal court. Just got out of federal prison not too long ago, actually. Yes, sir.
We received a call this morning from one mother speaking about her son and his situation. She said that he was arrested earlier this morning with the last name Bates. She was saying that he currently has a situation where he is needing surgery. He was supposed to get surgery either today or tomorrow. How does that process work here in Concordia Parish, just speaking about people with certain cases as far as medical-wise?
We have doctors and nurses that will address any medical condition of any person arrested in this parish.
Yeah. But we didn't indict anybody named Bates as part of this investigation. So it may have something to do with something else.
Can you get a photo of Blumenthal to us so we can share his image?
All right.
Something we can do.
All right. All right. Thank you.